All right guys, welcome to the back nine. This back nine is sponsored by a local shop, Nexus Disc Golf, here in Kansas City. They've got 2 locations. Be sure to support them if you're in town for the Kansas City Wide Open this week. Let's check out hole 10. All right, hole 10, we got a 487-foot par 3, long par 3. We're throwing a distance driver. We got kind of an island green, so during the tournament there will be out of bounds. I'm playing a little bit early, so we don't have the out of bounds set up yet. But I am trying to throw a shot basically over top of this short basket with a little bit of straight glide push on it and then fade back at the end. I think this shot fits my Z-swirl force really well, just because it's going to go out there, glide, and then towards the end of its flight, it's going to want to hyzer back. So it's going to be a nice 80 to 90% force shot. Throw it nice and hard and firm, and this crosswind is going to also help push it back to the left. So Z-swirl force. So that's got a good glide on it. We'll see what the distance looks like. It's going to fade back to the left. That should be solid. Okay, so that one actually went a little bit too far. So I'm going to throw a little bit softer. How I can control the distance on a shot like that if it goes too far is instead of throwing it flat like this, I can just throw it on hyzer, because anytime a disc has hyzer on it, it's going to want to get to the ground and it's not going to want to go too far, because that first one had just a little bit too much glide. So this next one, I'm just going to keep it on hyzer. I don't need as much distance as I thought I did. Obviously, with it being the first time through the hole, I'm kind of guessing at the distance, and we have a right to left wind that's going to help carry it. So keep it on hyzer, control the distance a little bit better. So that's much better. So it's on hyzer the whole way. It's not going to go as far, and that should be parked. So yeah, as you can see, the two differences. The first one flexed it out too much, turned it, got that extra glide. Second one kept it on hyzer and kind of kept it inside the circle. First one, not bad. It's probably a little bit 40 feet past. So hole 10, force. So the first one looks like it's just short of the OB long grass. Still safe, but definitely not where I want it. I wanted it to be a little bit closer, especially when you have a lot of wind like this. Doesn't mean you can't make the putt, but just makes it a lot more random. See, as you can see, those, I pretty much putted all 3 of those the same, just the wind. Some of them lift, some of them drop. Kind of the risk you take putting into the headwinds like that. So yeah, I obviously made the adjustment on the second shot, learned a lot about this hole. We got a right to left crosswind, so I've kind of learned what angle to throw and what disc to throw in that kind of wind condition. All right, we got hole 11, 383-foot par 3 through a gap, and we have kind of a basket perched up on the mound. And the good part about a hole on a mound like this is you can actually use that mound in front as like a backstop to kill the speed. If you hit the top of the mound, a lot of times it's going to want to skip, but if you hit short into the mound, it's going to leave you at about 20 feet. So it's something I'm definitely paying attention to and really trying to hit that. So obviously you got a tight gap. I'm aiming kind of at this left tree and kind of turning into the gap. This one tree in the middle forces you to kind of go left or right, and I'm going to go left side with a Raptor to try and kind of get that turn. If you hyzer out too much or turn too much, there is OB on either side. So really a specific shot, and really want to dial this one in. So I turned it a little bit too much. Looks like it might be out of bounds to the right. So just kind of throw pretty much the same disc. That one just a little bit flippier. I hit the line. I hit through pretty much the exact shot that I wanted and just threw the wrong disc. So I'm going to throw the same shot, exact same everything, just a little bit more stable of a disc. Oh, that one's too stable. So kind of somewhere in between. I'm going to throw one more just to kind of get a good feel for it. But let's see here. Throw Onyx on this next shot. See if I can't split the difference between the first 2 shots. So yeah, it looks like we've got a little bit of a headwind that's kind of just, as you can see, dragging everything to the right-hand side. So yeah, playing tricky right now with this headwind. I could probably throw a little bit more, just throw super stable and just kind of jerk it way over to the right, just because this headwind's pushing everything to the right. And if you hyzer it out, the headwind's just going to push it left. So it's just making it a super tricky shot because we're throwing on such a severe angle through this gap that the wind really messes with it more so than if you were to just throw flat. So as you can see, I threw a lot more stable of a disc, a lot better shot. But even those first 2 were pretty ideal shots, exactly how I wanted to throw them. Just got the headwind that's kind of pushing to the right. And normally I wouldn't want to, that's like one of my most overstable Raptors. Definitely wouldn't normally want to throw it, but it's a lot more headwind than you can kind of feel from the tee pad. As you can see, I kind of felt like I threw a good shot with the first couple and just got way more turn than I wanted. So this is the tree that kind of makes this hole super tricky because you got to throw an anti-flex around it. If that tree wasn't there, you just kind of be able to throw a hyzer flip right at it. So yeah, good hole, challenging, and gets even more challenging when you have a headwind, crosswind like we do out here right now. All right, so my first two landed kind of right side, probably out of bounds, which is no problem at all. Just like I said, really only my second time running through the course. And my third one, once again, my best shot. So I kind of just took my most overstable disc, threw it on super flex, and let it naturally kind of just fade back. So definitely learned on what disc I want to throw. I'm definitely gonna throw a Raptor, and more than likely probably throw my most stable Raptor, just kind of like on a super roller flex line. What's up, dude? Course looks good, man.
How's it going?
Course looks awesome. Heck yeah, good job. It looks awesome. Can't wait to play it this week.
We're excited to see all you guys attack it.
Heck yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good challenge. Thank you, thank you. Awesome. All right, hole 12, we got a 659-foot par 4, dead straight through the tunnel. We got one shot. You're throwing a tunnel shot. I'm using this camera guy kind of as my reference point, right at him with just a maybe 5 or 10 foot fade into the middle of the fairway. I'm gonna throw just a flex shot with a zone. And as you see, I'm not really trying to bite off too much. I could throw a buzz, but a lot of times it's downhill a lot more than you think, so it's easy to get distance. It's really just about hitting the line. And even if you do it with a slow disc, you're gonna take yourself into the fairway. So I don't wanna throw too fast of a disc. Plus we have a tailwind that's gonna help us carry and get more distance than we normally would. So just landing straight, throwing a zone, that's all I'm thinking about. Right at the camera guy and then fade just off of him. That's exactly what I want. So yeah, that's try to replicate that shot, but that's pretty much exactly what I'm trying to do. I can bite off a lot more distance if I really wanted to, but that's not really what I want to do on this hole. Exact same shot twice in a row. That's what we're looking for. So both those shots, very, very doable. We'll go up there and see where we land. All right, so both of my shots landed basically within a 5 or 10 foot circle, which is exactly what I'm going for. I threw 2 zones, and probably gonna throw a zone again on the second shot. So par 4, then I'm basically throwing 2 putters to try and get the birdie look. This shot, basically all I'm thinking about is this right side tree. If I can throw a shot just inside left of it, use that hill. We have a left to right hill, which also, because if I throw it in the middle of the fairway, it's just gonna push into the bush once I skip. I have to favor kind of left-hand side of that gap, because everything's gonna wanna trickle back to the right once it hits and skips. So if you watch my ground play, it's just gonna wanna skip straight. Even if I have hyzer on it, it's just gonna wanna get one of those skips where it just kind of pushes to the right. So I'm very well aware of that as well. So a little bit too far left, but got a straight skip. I'm gonna throw one more. That was not my best release. Just wanna throw it with hyzer. A little bit, same exact line as that, just more power. There we go, that's perfect. So if you watch the ground play, it should skip straight, just like that. As you can see, it kind of just skips straight. Normally on a flat hill like that, it's gonna wanna skip way left. But I kind of knew that was gonna happen just because of the way the hill is shaped. So I definitely am aware of greens that are shaped like that and how it's gonna affect your skip coming into the green. So yeah, the second shot, as you can see, this ground gradually goes right to left and really definitely makes the upshot a little bit trickier. If you're not aware of the hill, if you skip straight and you're throwing in the fairway, it could skip actually right into those bushes or not exactly what you're looking for. So you really got to pay attention to the ground play on a green like this when it's this severe. All right, we got hole 13 is a 364-foot uphill par 3. And we got kind of a circle around the basket, which is out of bounds, probably just outside circle, and it follows all the way around the basket. So if you're not inside the circle or around there, you're probably gonna be OB. I'm gonna go with a buzz. I'm using that short basket as my reference point. We got a headwind, so I'm throwing over top of that basket and then letting the kind of headwind drift it back to the right line of the basket. So I'm gonna throw a buzz saw on the first one over top of the basket, kind of hyzer flip shot. 360, it probably plays a little bit closer to 380, something like that. So pretty firm buzz shot here. So we'll see where that lands. It might be a little shy. I didn't quite, but looks like it should be at solid distance. We'll try one more, another buzz. I didn't quite turn that one over on that second shot. We'll see though where it lands. So yeah, I'm gonna throw one more. Throw a little bit flippier of a buzz, because those first 2 buzzes were my straight buzzes. This one's my flippy buzz, and since it's my flippy buzz, it should fly pretty straight because of the uphill grade. There we go. Much better. So I got the more turn on it. Looks like it turned actually a little bit too much, but I'm fine with that. That was a good shot through the hyzer flip. We'll kind of just gauge the distance when we get up there. That's really the most of the thing that I'm worried about, is just the distance control and how far my buzzes are flying into a headwind, into this uphill grade. And then we can kind of make the disc selection choice once we get up there and kind of gauge if I'm too short, if I'm too far, left or right, whatever that is. So just kind of using the first couple shots as a gauge, since I don't have any idea if I'm anywhere near the circle with those first couple. All right, so my buzzes are actually a lot better than I expected them to be. I thought they were gonna be way short, but they're actually long. So that's kind of just the misconception of playing this hole for the first time, is I thought they were gonna be like 30 short and they're actually 30 long. So that's basically a 60-foot difference from being 30 foot short to 30 long. And, but yeah, now just kind of being aware of where my disc is landing right here, and where where the wind is, what direction the wind is. If it's windier, I could throw a forehand, but I do know that it's playing right around 360. It's got a little bit of an uphill grade, but it's not nothing too crazy. I thought it was going to play a lot more uphill than it actually does. So learned a lot on that hole. Plays pretty close to the actual distance on the tee sign. All right, we got hole 14, 859 foot par 4. We got a straight shot to a pinched off fairway that goes down to a really tight, narrow, fun raised basket with a lake behind it and a rock formation green. Starts off with a tee shot. Once again, I'm using that camera guy as a reference point, just trying to throw basically a forehand that goes straight and then has a flex kind of towards the end of its flight, but really just focusing on going straight. I'm not really focused on hyzering off with the forehand, because we do have bushes on the right-hand side, which if you go in there, you're pretty much auto bogey, double bogey. So throw a straight shot. Turned that a little bit too much, but it should be all right. We'll see kind of where that skips to. Yeah, that should be fine. Should be able to throw a shot from there. I'm gonna throw one more, pretty much the same shot, and see where that lands us. That one's a little bit low. That one's a good line, just a little bit too low. It's gonna be a tough shot from there. I'm gonna throw one backhand just to kind of gauge it, see where I can land the backhand at. I'm gonna throw onyx on this backhand shot. See, that one I just turned way too much over, but see where that kicks to, how it just drops. I'm gonna throw one more just so I can, because that one I didn't really get a gauge of where I'm gonna land. So I'm gonna throw one more that can get a full flight and just land in the fairway, so I can just gauge where the backhand's gonna go. There we go, that's much better. So that's kind of a better gauge of where my backhand's probably gonna go. That should be, cut the corner pretty good, and yeah, we'll get up there and see where the second shot looks like. All right, so my backhand was the best shot, and it allows for me to actually throw a decent angle into the green. So I'm gonna throw a forehand Venom. It's shooting at about 380 forehand distance. You're throwing so high and wide, it's gonna play more like 420, 430 actual distance. And we do have a downhill grade to a pond. I'm utilizing this last tree as kind of starting at that tree and just fading back to the right, taking me kind of somewhere into the green. But just trying to throw a kind of smooth 400-foot hyzer with the forehand should leave me down there on the green somewhere. We'll throw one more. That one, it felt pretty much exactly like I wanted to throw it. Looks like I may have went a little bit too far, so I'm gonna downgrade to a Raptor. We have a little bit of a crosswind. That could be why the discs are carrying a little bit more than normally they would. That one's just way too tight, so it's probably not gonna be very good, but let's see here. That was a shank, but this one's gonna be, I'm gonna throw a Predator on this one. That last one was kind of not the best release. This one should be a little bit better. This one's a Z Predator. Oh, slip. That one feels a little bit better. So yeah, just once again, these shots are just feel. I'm throwing blind around a corner with lakes and drop offs, and it's more basically like the 4th or 5th time is when I'm gonna feel my most dialed, which I've got, 4 or 5 more practice days before the tournament starts. So it's a lot of time to get dialed in. So definitely on a blind shot like this, I'm utilizing this tree to aim at this tree with hyzer, knowing that by the time I get to that tree, it's gonna hyzer in front of it and take me into the green and give me a putt. So yeah, on a blind shot like this, you really wanna utilize landing zones and points of reference like trees to aim at. All right, so my first one, I threw the Venom. The second two, I downgraded to the Raptor just because this one went a little bit long and I wanted to land a little bit shorter. So this one was still good. I just don't want to be flying over top of this rock wall because that gives me the chance to trickle roll into the water, which I obviously don't want that. So I'm gonna make sure to downgrade to make sure I don't go into the water with the distance driver. Whoops, got this good old spit out. I don't see that too often on these baskets. But yeah, learning a lot on these greens. Threw a Venom, went too far. Threw a little bit slower speed. This Predator's a 9-speed, Raptor's a 9-speed. So throw the 9-speed, land about 20 to 30 feet short. That's kind of the landing zone, as opposed to going past the basket, risking going OB. All right, we got hole 15. It's 288 foot par 3. Really tricky, low ceiling, narrow gap, and we have water on the left-hand side. On a shot like this, you definitely want to keep in mind, we have a left to right wind, which is great for a crosswind forehand shot. And also you want to keep in mind, for me, I want to keep it on an angle that where if I throw it too low, or if I get a wind slam into the water, it's going to still skip. So the flatter I can be going through the gap is making sure that if I throw it hard enough, it's still going to hit the water and skip, versus if I have too much spike on it, it's just going to want to spike into the water. So that is something I'm paying attention to. I'm not trying to skip it off the water, but I'm keeping my disc on an angle to where if I do hit the water, it's going to want to skip as opposed to dig into the water. So if I hit the water like that, it should be safe. Yeah, I mean, that's still safe. Even though I hit the middle of the water, I can throw that disc right in the middle of the lake and it's still going to be safe. So that's definitely something. I'm going to try the same shot. And even if I hit the bank on the other side and go back in the water, that's still a par. Versus if I go in the water short, that's an automatic bogey. So throw another shot, same disc, and it's going to be right in the water, but it should skip. So yeah, so it's not really, I'm not really, even if I go in the water, at least I'm getting the distance across the water, getting the chance to land safe. And because you can't really throw it much wider, because as you see, there's a little tree on the left-hand side. Really tricky shot, and you can't really throw it as high as you want, just because there's limbs that stick down. I'm gonna throw one more, and you don't really want to throw a putter, just because the putter's not gonna really skip across the water like a driver will. And try one more shot here. Try to get a little bit more flex on it with this Raptor, and see if I can't get, there we go. That's much better. So that's hitting the water. So that's basically, that's essentially the play on the hole, is you're just gonna see people throwing it right into the water on purpose. And as long as you throw your disc on an angle, it's gonna skip off the water, as opposed to if you're spiking into the water, it's just gonna hit and stop. So as you can see, I threw 3 discs right in the middle of the lake with a good angle. It's gonna skip to the green, give me a birdie putt. Good thing I got my max distance retriever. Makes it, I hit the trees and actually bounced back into the water. So at least I crossed, but I didn't lose my disc. These things are clutch. This is my best shot that skipped off the water, skipped over here to about 20 feet right of the basket. And all my shots that skipped off the water made it across. One of them hit the trees and bounced back in the water, but that was just kind of unlucky. So even though I'm throwing a skip shot off the water, it's not something that I'm really worried about even going in the water, just because as long as I keep my angle at the right angle going across the water, there's really not much risk. The only thing you're risking is getting your disc wet. Still get the birdie though. All right, we got hole 16. We got a par 5. We got 979 feet through a tight gap. So we're once again using the camera guy as a reference point, throwing at him, and then fade about 10, 20 feet off of him. The more you can bite off of this tee, the easier this par 5 is, and makes the second and third shot a lot easier. So I'm gonna go with a nuke just because I want to get a lot of power, a lot of distance, and this is definitely the farthest disc in my bag, and just try to hit the gap. We're going uphill, so everything's gonna want to once again drag to the left more than normal. So it's a little bit of my understable nuke to kind of counter the uphill grade of this hole. So that's pretty much exactly what I wanted to do, and that should be in a spot where I can throw a good shot from there. That's good, yeah? Yeah. All right, so as you can see on this hole and a lot of holes out here at Bad Rock, the holes, they slope uphill, downhill, side slopes a lot more than you think. And so it definitely adds a challenge when you're throwing shots, when you're throwing run-ups from the fairway with these side slopes and uphill run-ups. Yeah, really great terrain to challenge us top players from the tee pad, from the fairway, and on the tough sloped, tricky greens out here. So I threw pretty much as good of a shot you can throw on this par 5, And the awkward part is you're throwing downhill, but you have to throw uphill. So it looks like I can just throw down the hill, but the way this hill's shaped, I'm gonna have to throw up while I wanna throw down. So it's just super awkward. I know I can already tell I'm gonna wanna throw it straight, and then as soon as I get up there, it's gonna be way nose up. So it's just, that's just this hill and the way it's shaped. So really gotta just barely clear this hill, throw it down and flex it. I'm gonna throw a force. Just really try to throw it straight. I'm not trying to throw left or right. I'm just trying to land straight, finish straight, and go from there. And just try to give myself an easy 4. So that one turned a little bit too much. So I'm gonna try one more. This one's gonna be a Raptor. That one, I turned a little bit too much on that force. So I'm just gonna throw more hyzer flip on this Raptor. There we go, that one's much better. A little bit left, but that should be playable. But as you can see, this hill is really what makes this hole hard. That first one, I threw it nice and low to the ground, and the wind kind of turned it. That second one, it kind of hyzered out a little bit more. Throw one more shot just for kind of good measure. That one's better. So that one I threw just basically as low as I could to the ground, and should be right in the middle. Good shot for 3, a good shot for an up and down 4 from there. But you can see how close I had to cut it to this hill just to be having good height coming down the hill. If I throw much higher, I'm just gonna wanna veer off left or right. So super tricky shot on this second shot. It's probably even more tricky than the drive. It's not the distance. It's just the fact that you have to hit the line and the height perfect to bring yourself into that landing zone to even give yourself a chance for that 4. So here I threw it a little bit early, which is not ideal, but I still have a super tough technical shot for a chance to get up and down for the 4. So definitely not ideal to be pinched off here. You can still kind of squeeze through the gap, but definitely want to be a little bit further right. And this hole, if you want to get risky and greedy, you can definitely get up there, get a long putt for 3, maybe a 50, 60 footer. You'll definitely see people doing that. Just all about how risky you want to be. So the one I threw low, basically straight into the ground. I threw this one right into the ground, right in front of me, just barely cleared it and still got up here. And that was with the fairway driver. So if I really wanted to, I could definitely get up there for a putt. Just a matter of how much risk I want to take on the second shot. From there, it's just an easy jump putt 4 pretty much every time. So yeah, a good hole. A lot of outcomes. You could get a 3, you could get a 4, and if you mess up the hole, you can get a 5, which out here on the Pro Tour, 5s, pars on a par 5 is falling behind. You're losing strokes. So you want to get yourself a 4 minimum and maybe try to find a look for 3 if you can. So yeah, that was just from my little upshot from being pinched off on that left-hand side. So it's not necessarily a death sentence for not getting a birdie if you're a little short left, but just not ideal, force you to scramble. All right, we got hole 17. We got a 512-foot par 4, goes straight to a dogleg left. Obviously a pretty short par 4. I'm gonna probably be able to throw putter, and really specific landing zone. I've only played it once, but I kind of know where it's at, right where that camera guy is, kind of about 50 feet left of him, and that leaves you kind of in the perfect spot. So I'm gonna go with a neutral flying zone, one of my beat up ones, just keep it on hyzer, and just try to hit the gap, and not really do anything crazy, just throw to point A, and then take an upshot from there. Something just like that. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted to do. So that's right where I want to land. I'm gonna throw one more, try to replicate that same shot. Yep, did it twice, that's great. So we'll get up there, see where those are, and kind of see if I need to make any adjustments to that shot, but those are right where I want to land. All right, so here's one of my zone shots, a little bit short left. You want to make sure, now that I know, to push it a little bit longer to give me a better angle. This angle is pretty much, I'm in the fairway, but I might as well be in the rough just because of the fact that I have pretty much no angle. So I'm throwing like a jackknife flex shot just to give myself a putt at it. So something like that, but that's still gonna leave me about, 50 feet to the left. But I mean, that's pretty much all I can do from a spot like this because I have this tree that pushes me. I have to get around that and go. So yeah, shot like that, I'm happy with a 50 footer. And then we take me to a spot like this, I can get a little bit more greedy, kind of throw more straight at it and go for the more of a park job. Just like that. So that should be pretty much parked. So yeah, that's the difference, taking a direct route right at it versus that was essentially the exact same shot and I have pretty much no angle. My best case scenario is 50 feet away, and that's the difference between 20 feet left and 20 feet right on this hole like this. It's a short hole, so it puts a premium on the exact positioning where you want to land. All right, so hole 17, one of the trickier greens on this back nine here. We got trees galore, we have rocks, we have a left to right slope, and here's my shot from the fairway. Threw it to about 20 feet away, but even if you're left of this basket, everything wants to go right to a very big gully down there. So lots of risk on this upshot, the drive. We got rocks, we got rollaway potential, so hole 17 is a tough green out here. All right, my shot from the fairway landed here. Really solid shot. Gives me a good chance to get the birdie. So yeah, definitely, as you saw, the difference between my two zone shots was the difference between being able to park it and just being able to get there about 50 feet away. All right, guys, once again, I just wanted to give a shout out to Nexus Disc Golf, the local disc golf retailer here in Kansas City. If you're in town for the tournament, be sure to check them out. Now let's play the last hole. Hole 18, 929 foot par 5. This is a separator hole, and this is a crush. We got an uphill slope pretty much the entire way. Once again, using that cameraman, he's always in a good spot. So if I can land anywhere near him, I'm doing good. Even a little bit to the right. So throwing my nuke. Once again, I threw it on the last par 5, and I'm gonna throw it again on this one. So that one looks like I didn't quite turn it quite enough. We'll see though once it lands. Could be in the woods. Yeah, so that's a little bit, a touch too far to the left. Got a little bit of a right to left crosswind that I didn't really feel off the tee. And it pushed me a little bit further left than I wanted. So this one I'm gonna turn a little bit more and get a little bit more to the right. So that one I turned a little bit more, I just didn't throw it high enough. Still should be all right, but didn't quite get all of that one. I'm gonna throw one more. I'm throwing about not quite full power right now, so see if I can't get into one. Throw the force. There we go, that one's better. So that should ride the right-hand side and come back left and be in a good spot. So yeah, that one's pretty much the same as the first two, just same power, same line and everything, just turned it a little bit more. So we'll see where that one lands, see if we can't attack the pin from there. Once again, this is, if you throw a perfect shot off the tee, like that force, that third one, I can probably go for the pin. And this tee shot's kind of worth going for off the tee, because even if I hit a tree or something, I can still chip up and still play for my 4. So it's worth trying to throw that perfect tee shot to give yourself that chance for a 3. Not too much risk. All right, we got my drive. I threw a solid drive with my Z-Swirl Tour Series force, and it leaves me in a pretty much perfect position on this par 5 to attack it. I got 460 feet to the basket. We got a little bit of a right to left wind. I have the luxury because I threw it far enough that I can go hyzer. If I throw it any shorter, I have to throw a flex shot, and it's a little bit harder to gauge the distance with a flex shot versus a hyzer. So throw my Venom 460, gotta throw it pretty far. I'm gonna throw it pretty high as well and make sure I give it the height to get over this gully here. So that looks good. Should be across the ditch. We'll see when we get up there. Yeah, so probably just short, but should be across. We'll see. We'll throw one more. Give it another shot. I threw that one a little bit low, but yeah, first one should be good. That one's a little bit higher, but pretty much the same shot as that first one. But yeah, I'll see where that one lands. So that one's across the sidewalk, which is totally fine. I'm fine with that. As you know, as that sidewalk's probably 20, 30 feet away, if I'm across the sidewalk, still putting for birdie. So not much risk with that shot, to be honest. It's not something I'm really too worried about even going out of bounds. If I do, that's actually a good shot because I'm on the green putting for birdie from 30 feet. So try one more. As opposed to trying to park the hole and potentially landing short OB, yeah, the long side of the basket is kind of where you want to land. Like even that shot's safe, but I'd much rather land OB long and not risk going short out of bounds. And if you do that, you're throwing from back here, scrambling for par. So a lot of variables on that second shot, a lot of risk, got a big headwind. So yeah, definitely not an easy finishing hole. Like I said, if anything, throw it OB long, take your birdie putt, and eliminate the big number on this hole. But yes, super solid, fun hole to finish on. My fourth shot, I threw 2 forces to land here. Got kind of a windy headwind, eagle putt to finish. So yeah, this is definitely a spot where I'd like to land for sure. Kind of short of the basket, give yourself that kind of uphill putt, but then also you're risking going OB short. Then you have this path long, which if you're attacking this hole, essentially that's kind of what you want to do. Throw OB long and then take basically the tap in birdie, which is what I did with this nuke shot. I'm across this sidewalk, which is out of bounds, which like I said, from that second shot, really not worried about that at all. If I throw OB long, totally happy with it. As you can see, I can just basically tap in for my easy 4. So it takes away the risk of going OB, getting a 5 or a 6. If I go OB long, I'm automatically gonna have a birdie putt. Super happy with that. So don't wanna go out of bounds, but if I do, I'm gonna err on the side of going long and coming up here and having a birdie putt. So thank you guys for watching. 18 holes out here at Bad Rock. Can't wait to play the tournament out here. And thank you guys for watching.